what you said could be used against you later. It's not about your example, but they're making you into an example. They're clearly looking for a reason to somehow charge you with material support for terrorism. I know, but you do realize that the things that I said in that room are, one, still protected speech, and two, there's nothing I can do if the fucking federal government wants to make an example out of me, you dumb fuck. What is wrong with you? I know. That's kind of the main point of contention here, don't you think? What the fuck are you saying? Yes, I know that already. You think I don't know that? You think I haven't talked to literal fucking journalists and also organizations so far since this conversation took place? I like that. I like that chatters in here are like, dude, you shouldn't have done that. It's like, even if I did, and they use that, use what I said in that interview against me, that's still a precedent-setting court case. You understand? I'm taking that risk knowing full well what the risks associated with it are. And I'm also telling you not to do that. But I also will not be intimidated. Like that was my point. I like that because of the parasocial nature of Twitch streaming. Some chatters are just some different kinds of idiots. Yeah, I don't know. There's already like, what do you want me to go? Wee woo? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, I criticized the New York mayor for saying the Customs and Border Patrol was nice. I didn't say that the situation that I had with the Customs and Border Patrol was nice at all. As a matter of fact, I thought it was a ridiculous and unlawful detention that was specifically designed to create a chilling effect on speech. That is very clear. Hello? I am doing that. What? I'm doing that. What the hell? What the fuck? People are circulating this as evidence to say you aren't minimizing it. Yeah, I didn't want people to fucking freak out. Like, what are we doing? Anyway, so where was I? All right, this is so funny. Like half of the internet and most of the reactionary commentary sphere that ranges from people that consider themselves to be liberals all the way down to like neo-Nazis is both celebrating and also downplaying what this Trump administration is doing. And it's really funny that I still have fucking dumbass supposedly leftists in my own community that's like, who are like, you didn't go hard enough, dude. You should have fucking, you should have thrown fisticuffs or some shit. Which I find really funny. Okay, man. You shouldn't travel because they will grass you up, man. What does that mean? But in any case, as I already talked about this, like I already gave my experience. I already explained my experience in great detail. And yeah, okay, hog pedals are thirsting over Trump's granddaughter after she turned 18. They're gross. They're disgusting. And it's the least surprising thing I've seen. So I see your side too. You're being canary, but a lot of effort goes into advising leftists how to avoid exposure. And since you're a role model for a lot of folks, it can be read as undermining those efforts. I think don't take it personally. Just validate the impulse. Your reasons are singular. Everyone else should follow the guidance. An activist law community. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind, dude. You're wanting me to address things that I already said. I already said all of those things. Okay. Watch the fucking video instead of coming in here and chirping at me. Oh my God. What the fuck is happening? I already addressed all of this. I said I have a position of profound privilege, and I use that in this moment to actually talk instead of fucking immediately instead of immediately doing what is normally wise in those circumstances, which is to not talk and to demand a lawyer or ask if you are being detained. I don't understand why my own fucking community, who was probably in here listening to me explain the situation, is now behaving in this way. What the fuck is going on? I mean, actually, what the fuck's going on? What is happening? What is happening? Yes, the other mics were on. I just turned them off. Thank you, chatter. Oh my God. You're canceled by Law Twitter, buddy. Okay. So, what is this? Look who finally spoke out against Israel. Comrade SquarePants. Okay, guys, stop. Stop posting random shit. So, I dislike you, and I heard that. What do you mean? How you get detained and people are trying to cancel you for it? Because this is part of the reason why I say nobody grifts to the fucking left, okay? This is why I say nobody grifts to the left, because the left broadly are incredibly annoying people. They are incredibly annoying people that constantly want to talk about how radical they are or constantly showcase how they would do things differently in that situation. There's never any charity to other fucking leftist figures in general. And there is so much ideological diversity that that people they operate on this like almost puritanical basis with their representation of their own ideology. And that's it. It's really fucking annoying. Leftists are unbearable and incredibly annoying, and personally despise solidarity. And it's something that I actively try to work against, but it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, this is a good summarization of the events that took place. This is from a progressive Now This Impact TikTok account. I'll replay this real quick from yesterday. Agent goes, "Step aside, sir." I was like, here we go. All right. I'm waiting in the corner. This Latina ICE agent comes up, picks me up, takes me to this detention center. I sit down, fluorescent light bulbs, the whole nine. Okay. They have benches in the back of O'Hare Airport where there's like a detention area. Okay. There's a detention area. I'm sitting there. There's like a bunch of terrified families. Finally, this agent comes out, says, "Hasan Piker." I'm like, "That's me. Coming with me." I'm like, "Oh, brother, here we go." They take me to this back room, okay? And the back room is not great. Everything, the back room is designed in the most hostile way I've ever been inside of a room. The vibes are really back there. Everything is fluorescent light bulb. It's very obvious that they knew exactly who the I was. It's not leftist, it's the internet. Every internet subculture operates like that. Conflict draws in viewers and drives revenue. That's why the internet is filled with contentious assholes. I think so. Was. He kept saying, "Oh, well, since you mentioned that, what do you do as a job?" And I was like, "I'm a Twitch streamer." And he's like, "Well, since you mentioned that you were a Twitch streamer, what kind of things do you stream about?" And at first I was like, do I just tell him I play video games? Because I don't think this going to believe me if I say I just play video games to him, right? So I was just like, yeah, I play video games, but I also do current events sometimes, drama, internet. And he's like, "Oh, do you talk about, since you mentioned that, you talk about the things that you talk about, do you talk about the news?" And I was like, "Yeah, I talk about the news." And he kept saying, "Okay, so when you talk about the news, do you talk about the war?" And I was like, "What do you mean by that?" He's like, "Do you talk about Trump?" And that was the first time where I was like, what the is this question? Like, I literally straight up told him, I was like, "Why are you asking me this?" Like, I was like, what does this have to do with anything? I saw no reason to hold back on certain things. So I said, "I don't like Trump." And I was like, "What are you going to do? It's protected by the First Amendment. I don't like Trump." Yes. Right? Like, I was like, "I'm not fond of him. I don't like him. He said he was going to end the wars. He hasn't ended the wars. What What's up with that? As a black chatter, you talking to cops was killing me, bro. Dude. Oh my God. Okay. Chatters. As I mentioned yesterday, and I guess I will have to repeat it over and over again. You shouldn't do this. The reason why I did this is because I have a shit ton of privilege. Okay? I wanted to investigate what this inquiry was going to look like. I am wealthy enough to be sheltered from additional scrutiny. I am a public figure. If this were to happen to you in a situation like this, as it's happened to many Americans so far that have come into the country, there wouldn't be 7,000 international articles written about it. The reason why I took advantage of the privilege that I have, being a public person, and also on top of that, having enough money to potentially overcome any sort of serious scrutiny from the government, and access to groups like the ACLU and numerous other First Amendment defending like civil rights organizations with lawyers, used this as an opportunity to try to figure out exactly what was going on with this inquiry process. Okay? And I stressed this over and over again yesterday, which is to not let you do this. I told you, you shouldn't do this. This is it. I have immense privilege, which is why I had the opportunity, in my mind, I made this calculation to actually entertain this back and forth to see what was going on in their line of inquiry instead of immediately trying to lawyer up in this otherwise the secondary hold or detention that they engaged in. In any case, from the way you described him, this Iraqi agent seemed begrudgingly to be interviewing you on the Twitch drama stuff. He wasn't really invested. I'm sure those white men CBP agents might have even known who you were. If you got them, it would have been 1,000%. Yeah, I mean, I can only speculate. Okay. And I don't know why people can't comprehend this, especially because I mentioned it. I stressed the importance of this over and over again. And I think people are still looking for any opportunity. People are still looking for any opportunity to be like, I would have done things differently, or you're being a bad example or whatever. Okay? There was never a moment where I said...
So unless you live under a rock, you are probably aware.
Americans are so cute because they'll have...
What is this?
So unless you live under a rock, you are probably aware of the reality that right now in the United States, things are getting more repressive. The state is becoming bolder. People are being taken off the street. Not just undocumented people anymore, which was already bad enough, but people with green cards, et cetera, and so forth. And what's been happening more recently is even people who were born in the United States with a passport are coming into the U.S. from vacation or travel, and they are being stopped, sometimes randomly, sometimes not randomly, and being questioned about their political affiliations, political leanings, things of that nature. So yesterday, I got a text message from my friend, Hasan Piker, who, if you know who he is a very prominent left-wing voice. He's one of the largest streamers on Twitch and certainly the largest left-wing streamer. And he was stopped coming in from France. He was coming into Chicago, and they stopped him for a period of time and questioned him, and ultimately he was fine. But he texted me as he was basically being pulled aside to let me know that was happening, because I am his lawyer friend. And we did have a conversation after this about maybe in the future some things that will be done differently. But this should worry all of us a lot, because Hasan Piker is a very prominent left-wing voice. He is well known. He has a large following on the internet, and he is a rich person. So he's a person with reach and influence, and even though he was only briefly stopped for a period of time when he was coming back in the United States. The fact was they flagged him. They were specifically...
No, Lolo didn't scold me. He did not. I explained to him exactly why I did what I did as well in that conversation. Like, I literally told him, just as I told you, what the purpose of it was.
Looking for him and asking him specific questions about his activities as a political actor in the United States. They're asking him about political opinions. You know,
you have no idea how